I got Halloween yarn. Hello and welcome to Mandobug Crafts episode 90. What's up everybody? My name is Amanda, but you may know me on the internet as Mandobug, and this is my channel here on YouTube where I talk about the things that I am making. Today I'm going to be talking about spinning, knitting, and crochet. So starting the show out with something I've learned. This week I have challenged myself to learn how to spin from the fold. Ever since I learned to spin a couple years ago, I've heard people talking about spinning from the fold, and I never really understood what it meant. And you are literally folding your fiber in half and spinning from where it's folded. Now, I had to do a little bit of research on this to learn more about it, and I found that Rachel of Welford Pearls, she also has the woolen spinning kind of episodic series that's funded by Patreon. So if you're interested, that's my check it out for the week. Go check out woolen spinning on Patreon or Rachel Smith's channel on YouTube. I'll put it up here and down here. She's got some great videos on spinning different types of techniques and things like that. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Welford Pearls, Rachel Smith, or woolen spinning, it's all kind of collectively the same thing. Definitely go check that out. But I found on her channel that there are two different ways to spin from the fold. So from the fold means that you're folding the fiber over the tip of your finger, but you can spin off the tip or from the top. So I decided to challenge myself to just one of these techniques, and I thought it was more fun looking to try the from the tip. So I spun over the fold from the tip, and I have to say it feels really, really cool. When you do it, it kind of makes like a vortex around the tip of your finger, and you can kind of feel the fiber spiraling off from around your finger. And what that's doing is that's creating air pockets in your fiber, giving you a very, very woolen yarn. Now I'm spinning fiber that I got from Edgewood Garden Studio. I showed it in my last video. It's that purpley blue. I have some right here actually. It's that purpley blue blended gorgeous, amazing bat, and it said merino bats, but also on the card it said there could be a blend of other fibers in there. I don't think this is 100% merino because I did see some different lengths in there. I do think there's some BFL in here, but it's lovely, lovely stuff. I stripped the bat down into these finer strips, took off about a staple, and folded it over my finger, and then just started spinning. So a bat is a woolen prep. From the fold, off the tip is a woolen spin. So I have a little over 1 ounce of very, very woolen yarn. Well, singles. It's not finished yet. I plan on, and you can see that's my end. I plan on chain plying this, and I do believe, if I get even closer, I do believe this is fine enough to make a fingering weight yarn that hopefully I will be knitting into socks. So Jade from the So Perfect Pearls podcast, I know I've been mentioning her a lot lately, but she has a great podcast and she hosts a lot of fun spin-alongs. She is hosting the Year of This Mini Skein Challenge, where you spin at least 1 ounce up, challenging yourself to something new. So 1 ounce, something new, spinning from the fold off the tip. I'm going to take the other ounce of my 2 ounce bat and spin it short forward, which is a worsted spin. And so I'm taking a woolen prep, spinning it worsted. I'm going to end up with a semi yarn. And I want to see just how much more woolen do you get when you spin a woolen prep woolen versus a woolen prep worsted. And then I'm going to chain ply that one as well. So hopefully I will have 1 woolen sock, 1 semi sock. Obviously, 2 ounces of fiber is not enough to make a pair of socks, so I'm going to have to be spinning more for contrast heels, toes, and cuffs, and I definitely want to go for a sturdier yarn for that to have a really strong heel. I haven't decided, not yarn, fiber. I haven't decided on my fiber yet, but I'm thinking something solid because this should give me a nice tonal, variegated, marl-y effect. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to chain ply it, but the singles are kind of marled, so it'll be, I think it'll be a fun, maybe a heather effect even. But yes, spinning from the fold off the tip has been fun and exciting and difficult to keep my attention at first. I am actually filming an entire new video based on my experience for these mini skein challenges. I plan to film the process, talk about it, have the before and after of the spin, kind of give some input that's going to be outside of the podcast, so do be looking out for that. But for now, this is what I've learned, and I'm so excited to spin the other ounce worsted and chain ply and start seeing and making those comparisons. So moving on to finished objects, before I could get that spin on my wheel, I had to finish chain plying the singles I had finished last week. Sorry, I got some string on my arm here. So this is fiber from Penguin Soup. See her little tag? I don't think she's dying currently. And this was 100% superwash merino in the Sakura colorway. I spun this one up 2 years ago, and I decided that I was going to try to match it. Now, I love that I was actually correct when I said that overall I had a feeling this was going to be slightly thicker than my first spin. On average, it is just a little bit thicker. And something else that's interesting is, you know, unfortunately we don't have feel O-Vision yet. I'm sure that'll maybe be in my lifetime. But these feel completely different. And if I can show you up close again, there's a really high twist on my singles. So I put a high twist in the ply, but there's a high twist in these singles compared to these singles. So this skein, the skein I just finished, is much softer than the very first skein. Not that there's anything wrong with the first skein. It's beautiful and it's not scratchy, but it is more, and I like to use this word because I feel like it describes it best, but more ropey. The more twist you put in your singles, the more your single is going to start to feel like a rope. And I feel like with chain ply, it takes even less twist out than a traditional 3-ply. So, you know, you don't want to over twist your singles too much, and this is just definitely over twisted and just more rope-like, where this is much more of a soft and squishier and loftier yarn, even though they were spun both the same, a short forward worsted spin, which is what I kind of gravitate towards for merino. It's a much shorter staple. You can spin it, you know, from the fold, or a more long draw woolen type spin where you let that twist enter your fiber and you don't stop it before it enters your fiber. But I don't know why for merino I generally gravitate towards a short forward. So yes, both worsted. We got comb topped short forward, but this one much
softer.
So, yeah, I must have had happy feet on this one. But I did come close in yardage. So the very first one I spun was 2.1 ounces, 118 yards. The second one I just finished is 2.2 ounces, 115 yards. So like I said, just a little bit thicker on average, but I do think they will work together in a project, although you will feel the difference when I change skeins. Alright, moving on to works in progress. I've really been putting most of my time into my spin and then also my January socks. So I guess I haven't really officially announced it, but I plan on doing the box of socks knit along this year. I've never attempted it before because I just didn't knit that many socks, and I'm not that fast of a sock knitter. But now that I'm finding that I gravitate towards simpler knits like a stockinette sock, I think it's actually attainable for me this year. And Stephanie of the Crafty Garden podcast is hosting a hand spun sock knit along for the year. Not the whole 12, because that's a big commitment that maybe not a lot of people have time for, but you kind of get to set your own personal goal. So my personal goal is to knit 4 pairs of hand spun socks in a year, so I'm going to try to do that quarterly. So January's store-bought, February is going to be store-bought, March is going to be hand spun, and I'm going to be using the mini skeins that I'm spinning that I talked about earlier. So yes, that is a goal of mine. I guess this year for me is going to be the year of socks. I think that it's a reasonable, attainable goal for me this year, and it may help keep me from trying to do projects out of my ability while being a stay-at-home mom. So my January socks, here's my little progress keeper of where I was last week, and this is one of those little penguins that I made. I think I shared these with you guys. Oh, he's getting a little blown out. Let's see. There we go. He's just a little penguin guy. Now, I just am trying to test out my own little creations here. I've found that with this guy, his size is not that bad. I mean, he's kind of big for a progress keeper. And by size, I mean height and width. I'm okay with his height and width, but he is a little heavy because he's three-dimensional. He's fat and round, and I don't like how heavy he is. He doesn't pull out or loosen the stitch that he's attached to, but when I'm knitting, I feel him pull, like, just kind of I feel his weight dangling there as I knit, and I don't like that. So if I were to make him, again, as progress keeper, I would flatten him out a little bit and make him less three-dimensional, and I think that will cut back on weight. But he is super cute. So that's where I was last week. So, I mean, you guys, sock knitting is just what I have the mental capacity and the time for. And so I think I'll be able to knit my box of socks this year. So I have Trekking Sport for the toes, heels, and cuffs, and Trekking XXL, let me see, in the colorway 661 for the body of the socks. And actually, I was kind of taking apart this yarn, like deconstructing it in the end, because it's a very interesting sock. I don't know how well you can tell, but this sock actually even has texture to it that is not normal in socks. And I was like, why does this yarn have such texture to it? And it looks like, from a quick examination, that this yarn may be cable plied, where you have two 2-plies that are yeah, two 2-plies that are then plied together again. And what's interesting about this one is the 2-plies, one single is a solid, the black, and the other one is a color changing, like you can kind of tell there's an overall cast of like a purple, but there's blues and there's yellows and pinks and purples. So, but what's interesting is those singles that change colors match up throughout the entire skein. So very, very, very cool yarn. Fun to kind of look at the makeup of it. But yeah, I have 52 stitch socks, and I'm just kind of folding them in half to determine how long I want them. I've found that I'm only 5'2", I'm pretty short, and I have pretty athletic legs. I'm definitely pear shape, heavy from the waist down, and that shows in my calves as well. I've always been kind of, I don't know, when you jog and you run, you're on your toes, so you have pretty strong calves, and so I've always kind of, I don't know, had athletic legs. So I found that I need to start my cuff ribbing sooner, because otherwise my socks will just fall down because they're not, they just can't hold around my calf, because my calves start to get wide pretty quickly. So I fold my sock in half, and I usually start ribbing about, I don't know, 2 inches from where my heel is, and then I make my leg as long as my foot. And I found that so far that's been working well for me. So I'm probably about 7-8 rows from binding off, and then my January socks will be done. I did the fish lips kiss heel. I'm not sure I mentioned that. One thing I wish I did differently is, because I only did 52 stitch socks, I wish I had more contrast yarn on my toe. I just stopped and joined with the main color after I finished my increases, which normally I do like a 60 or 64 stitch sock, which was way too big. But I get more contrast colored toe because I have to increase over more rows. So I wish I had knit just some plain rows in contrast before switching. And then the 52 stitches fitting well, but I do wish I had a tighter gauge with this yarn. So next time I knit with Trekking XXL, I will drop down to 00s. I'm knitting them on Sock Rockets Magic Loop. I think this is a 40-inch cable. I find that I like having the extra slack. I think that's all I have to say about these guys. They should be off the needle soon, and then I'll be casting on my February socks early, because I'm just gonna, you know, go ahead of schedule. As long as I have the mojo, I'm just gonna keep knitting. But also, you know, I want to knit 12 pairs of socks for myself this year, but I also want to knit socks for my kids and my husband as well. So that's going to be more than 1 pair of socks a month. So I have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, moving on to design time. So I've been working on the basket. Oh, I don't think I told you guys. So the March Crochet Along Together with Skacel is going to be a springtime basket. So that has been officially put out there. It's going to be using Haiku Woody, 3 colors of a main color and 2 colors of a contrasting color. And I have been working on it. I have to finesse some things. I'm still struggling with the increases a little bit, and finessing kind of, there will be some color work. So, and just kind of nailing down the stability of the handle. So it's not quite done yet, but I have been working on that a lot. That's primarily where my time's gone this week, is into designing that basket, which will be finished soon. But I also did spend a little bit of time working on the tank top that I'm making out of the cattails yarn in the Great Pumpkin colorway. So I mentioned in the last video that my idea is to start the tank top strap from the back, come down the front, and I want a V-neck top. And so I had to crochet this and rip it out like at least 6 times. So I like to learn from scratch myself. I don't like to take other patterns and make heavy modifications of them, because I don't want to put myself in that trap of, you know, how much is this actually my pattern? If I stumble through and I create it organically myself, even if it's similar to someone else's design, I feel better releasing it out there with my name on it, knowing that I didn't use any part of anyone else's pattern to create it. So I wanted to put that out there. I've probably could have found a nice basic tank to base mine off of, but I want to stumble through it on my own. Also, stumbling through is teaching me lessons I wouldn't understand if I just kind of used someone else's pattern as a base. So that being said, I had mentioned that I wanted to have a my blinds are getting weird, sorry about that. Maybe I can fix it. Okay, so the sun is just not cooperating with me today, so I'm so sorry about that. I think this is the best I can make things work for me in the moment, so anyways, my tank top. I ripped it out like 6 times and had to redo it because of the shaping of the front piece here. I was trying to fit too many increases into too short of a distance, and I was trying to make it into a shape that the increases just did not fit the shape in that length. So turns out I can't have a short V-neck with this skinny of a strap. If I tried to have like a 3-inch V-neck and increase from this size strap, what starts to happen is the fabric starts to buckle. And I didn't want that. It also starts to curve up. I didn't want that either. So in order to keep my V-neck shape, I have to start my increases way up here and have a deeper V. And I don't want the V so low that it starts, I don't want to have cleavage in my tank top design. That's not how I wear my tank tops. If you wear your tank tops that way, you do you. It's not for me. So I have to start way up here. And so now that I've restarted, I'm much happier. Also, I think I told you guys I wanted to keep this side straight. I realized in doing that, it's going to give me a boxy armpit, and I don't want that. By doing a complete triangle shape, I'm going to end up with a U under my armpit. That's what I want. That's what you see in most tank tops. So far so good. I've showed you my stretchy strap, which is not ideal for a strap, but I was surprised that happened. But it's not gonna hurt anything. So I've got my single crochet strap, and now I'm doing my triangular increases, and this is linked double crochet. So while it's double crochet, you can't see through it. It's very, 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 very nice. So I should, ideally, fingers crossed, be able to wear this tank top with nothing but a bra on underneath, which is the goal. So yeah, I think it's going well. I just haven't, like I said, I had to rip it out 6 times, and I've been working on my basket design, so I haven't put much work into this, but I love this yarn. I love, you know, and I have to say, I have ripped it out 6 times, and it's holding up really well. This is Kat's Merino Silk base. So this is an amazing base. It's super soft and very sturdy, and the dye job is just really, really nice. I think that it's, and I've worked it up in different stitch lengths because I kept, you know, doing different increases and ripping it out. And I have to say, it almost looks the same every time because it's such a random dyeing that there's no flashing or pooling. It's just a nice tonal speckled yarn. So, yeah. So, moving on to current events. So, I am currently collabing with Amber, who has the Ambi Crafts Reads channel on YouTube and the Faith Love Crafts group on Ravelry. So she is hosting a year-long craftathon that's got a list of challenges for you to challenge yourself to in the year of 2018. Now, she is hosting it from January to December. I am only collabing for January and February. So those of you who participate in the craftathon and complete challenges from now until the end of February will be able to enter for prize drawings in both my group and Amber's group. So hopefully that's a little bit more clearer than I've explained it in the past. I know it can be a little weird because it's Amber's craftathon for the year, but I'm only collabing in January and February, but we will be giving out prizes at the end of February for the challenges that have been completed up until February. How Amber continues on with the craftathon through the rest of the year is up to her, and definitely check out her channel for that information. I will be donating the prizes for both of our drawings in February as the collaborator, and I am going to be making stitch markers, which are still to be determined, but I'm also making project bags, and I have the fabric. So the top two are going to be a project bag. I probably should have spread those out a little bit better. Oh, and now the sun decides to work with me. And then this is going to be the other project bag. This is going to be the outside. And this is going to be the lining. So, and now I've got fiber in my nose, which is just a part of the crafty life. So, I'm going to be giving a project bag away in my thread, and Amber's going to be giving a bag away in her thread, as well as we'll each be giving away stitch markers in our threads. So, definitely check out the challenges. I know some of you have already been posting your finished objects because one of the challenges is to just finish a whip. That one's a pretty easy one to complete, but there is a long list of challenges to choose from. You can probably find a way to make your projects that you have planned fit into those challenges, or you can search among the challenges and find something that's inspiring to you to start a new project. So yes, we are doing that. I'm very excited about it. This is actually, I think, my first collaboration. I don't think I've ever collabed with anybody before, mostly because I was too shy to ask, and Amber actually put it out there to the podcasting community that she was looking for someone to collab with her. So I didn't ask, I just said, I will. But I'm working on more collabs this year. It's something I'm more interested in doing, is working with other makers to inspire and craft along and just kind of have fun and build the community. So look for more collabs from me in the future. That's all I'm going to say for now. Now I got some stash. I have some stash. I got a late Christmas gift in the mail. And check it out. 2 skeins of Knitty and Color. This one is Punk Rock Pumpkin. It is on her acoustic sock, which is an 80/20 merino nylon blend. And it is just, it's full on Knitty and Color, full on Halloween. So, what I love about Knitty and Color is I feel like I can safely say she specializes in very concentrated color. Her colors are just very, very rich and not muddied, but she's got a lot of heavily speckled colors. And so you get a lot of, I mean, you just got a lot of speckles, man. She's got a lot of speckles that are heavily concentrated in color, not muddied. And with her Halloween colorways, I didn't show you, this is the other one, Trick or Treat, which is also on acoustic sock, the 80/20. And actually, I'm going to open this one for you. So, what I was saying about Knitty and Color is, what I love is the heavily concentrated color, but I also love that when she does Halloween, like purple, lime green, orange, black. A lot of times indie dyers will put out Halloween colorways that are inspired by Halloween, but if you didn't know that, you wouldn't really guess that. And I know that traditional colors for dyers can start to be, you know, very cliche, and you want your yarn to stand out from other dyers. But Knitting in Color does that by her dyeing techniques and having her concentrated colors. And so she definitely pulls off the Halloween colors. They're my favorite, you guys. They really are. So I'm very excited to have been gifted these yarns by a very good friend of mine who knows me so well. I didn't get permission to share, but she knows who she is and I love her. So, and she probably wouldn't care if I shared her name, but I just don't want to overstep any privacy boundaries. I've been trying to be more conscious of that lately, that this is my video where I overshare my information, but just because someone comes into contact with me does not mean I need to share their information. And I don't feel like I've done that, and I definitely haven't offended anyone, but I'm trying to be more conscious about that. So yes, stash. I don't usually have a stash segment, but I got Halloween yarn from Knitting in Color. I have to share it. So moving on to Let's Chat. That's the very last segment of my videos where I talk a little bit more about personal and less crafty things. So if you're checking out now, I will see you next time. If not, I really don't have much for this segment. I always struggle at Let's Chat because like most of what I enjoy talking about, what I'm passionate about, are the crafts, which is the bulk of the content. So even then, it's like looking back at my week. Well, I mostly focused on making this design for the springtime basket for the March crochet along, and it's still not done. Like I said, I've got some things that I want to tweak. I have to me, when I put out a pattern, it has to be perfect. I can't send it out into the world like, that could be better. Like, no, I'm going to redo it until I am 100% happy with it. So I've spent a lot of time focusing my efforts to that because it does have deadline. So that gets my priority. And then still crafty related, you guys. I can't. Saturday, I work at Maker's Mercantile. We had a spin-in. So a ton of people came with their wheels and spindles, and someone came with a distaff. That was so cool. I had never seen anyone spin from a distaff in person. Very, very cool. I very much enjoyed that. So I had and I learned a lot from meeting all these other spinners. Some I knew, some I didn't. I got to learn a lot about other wheels. There was a lot of single treadle Scotch tension wheels there, which I've never spun on a single treadle, and I've never spun Scotch tension. So I learned a lot more about kind of finessing the setup of a Scotch tension wheel. That's where your bobbin is braked and your flyer's got the drive band on it. I spin double drive. My bobbin and flyer have the drive band both on them, and they wheel really fast. So I got to learn a little bit more about finessing that brake band on your bobbin, and less about adjusting the tension of your drive band, which I found out means that it is a little bit more difficult to finesse a double drive tension. So I didn't know that, but I learned that. And I got to see a bunch of different styles of wheels. There were Ashfords, there was a Kromsky, there was a Majacraft, just kind of like a wide range of wheels was really cool. There were also e-spinners, both Hanson e-spinners and the electric wheel e-spinner, and just a wide variety of spindles. So it was really cool to just spin with other people. And it was brought up that spin-ins are different than knit nights because spinning generally requires less thought. So the conversation is much more lively and engaging than a knit night because you still kind of have to think about what you're doing, even if it is just a stockinette project, which is easier to talk through, but is still easier to talk through spinning. So all around, it was just a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed being a part of the spin-in. And so then, yeah, the only less crafty, well, it's not crafty, related thing is I'm still working on exercising, but I only jogged once this week. I ran another 1.5 miles in 16 minutes, which is so embarrassingly slow, but I just need to keep trying, keep running. I will get better. I feel better. And I was less sore this time, so there's that. But yeah, in the weather, you know, it's been weird. It's like cold, warm, rainy, and I don't like to run in the rain, and I don't like to run in the cold. So combination of the weather versus combination of when someone's home to watch the kids so I can go for a jog kind of limits my time. I think I'm going to be able to get back into a better running routine as it warms up, because I would preferably run before everyone gets up. Go run, shower, come back, coffee, breakfast. But it's just too dang cold that early in the morning. But yeah, you know what, guys? That's all I have for you this week. So I hope you guys made some good progress on whatever it is you were doing while watching my video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with me while I chat with you about all these things that I'm doing. Hopefully you feel a little more inspired to do something, try something new, venture into something new, or work on something you've been putting off. Until next time, guys, happy crafting! Bye!